7 years of marriage ended with one sentence. We were sitting at the kitchen table, and Holly said it without even looking up from her phone. We'd been drifting for months. Dinner became silent phone scrolling sessions. Holly worked late every night now, project manager at some consulting firm downtown. Always stressed, always distant. I tried picking up more around the house, giving her space. But space turned into a canyon between us. That evening, I put my phone down. Holly, we need to talk about us. She didn't look up. About what? About how we barely speak anymore. We're living like strangers. She finally met my eyes, expression flat. What do you want me to say, Travis? We're busy. This is marriage after 7 years. No, this is giving up. Holly sighed, already done with the conversation. I don't have energy for this right now. Energy to talk about the fact you haven't kissed me goodnight in 3 months? That we haven't had sex in half a year. She rubbed her temples. You're being dramatic. When's the last time you asked about my day? When's the last time we did anything together besides exist in the same house? Holly stared at me. Then she dropped the bomb. Honestly, I think we're just roommates now. That's what we are. Just roommates. I sat back, processing. Part of me wanted to fight, but another part recognized she might be right about what we'd become. Okay, I said calmly. She blinked. Okay. Yeah, if that's how you see us, then that's what we'll be. Roommates. Holly looked confused, like she expected anger or begging. That's it. You're not going to argue. What's there to argue? You just defined our relationship. I stood up, clearing my plate. Roommates it is. You're acting weird, she said. No, I'm acting appropriate. For a roommate. I loaded the dishwasher. I'll send you a breakdown of this month's bills. We should split everything 50-50. That's how roommates do it. Her eyes widened. You're serious. Completely. You want roommates? You've got it. I grabbed my water. I'm sleeping in the guest room tonight. No reason for roommates to share a bed. I headed toward the hallway, but Holly stopped me. Travis, come on. You're being childish. I turned back, expression neutral. I'm respecting your boundaries. You told me what we are. I'm not pretending otherwise. I paused at the doorway. Good night, Holly. Lying in the guest room bed that night, I felt hurt but also clear-headed. For months, I'd been the only one trying. Making excuses for her distance, blaming work stress, hoping things would improve. Tonight, she'd said it out loud. We were roommates. Fine. If that's what she wanted, that's exactly what she'd get. No more forcing connection where none existed. No more one-sided effort. I'd spent months being careful around her feelings, adjusting everything, hoping she'd notice, hoping she'd care. Well, hope wasn't working. If Holly wanted to reduce 7 years to a living arrangement, I'd show her what that looked like. The emotional distance, the lack of intimacy, the purely transactional nature of sharing space with someone you're not invested in. Maybe she'd realize what she was throwing away. Maybe she wouldn't. Either way, I was done being the only one fighting. Tomorrow, the new rules start, and I'd follow them exactly. Roommates don't do goodnight kisses. They don't make coffee for each other. They don't ask about each other's day or remember important dates. They just coexist. That's what Holly wanted. That's what I'd give her. Nothing more, nothing less. How long would it take her to realize what she'd asked for? The next morning, I woke up before my alarm. The guest room was quiet, unfamiliar. I got up, showered, and headed to the kitchen like any other Wednesday. Holly was already there, sitting at the counter with her laptop. She glanced up when I walked in, watching me carefully. I could tell she expected some kind of apology or conversation about last night. I walked past her to the coffee maker and poured myself a cup. Just one. Normally, I'd make hers too, exactly how she liked it. Light cream, 1 sugar. Not today. Morning, I said casually, leaning against the counter. Morning, she replied slowly. Her eyes followed me. So, are we going to talk about last night? What's there to talk about? You were clear about where we stand. I took a sip of coffee. Oh, before I forget. I pulled out my phone and opened the spreadsheet I'd created at 6 this morning. Utilities, internet, mortgage, groceries. All itemized. I sent it to her email right there. I split everything down the middle. Your half comes to $843 for this month. You can transfer it whenever. Holly stared at her phone as the email came through. You're actually doing this. Doing what? Splitting expenses? That's standard roommate protocol. I rinsed my cup. I'm heading to work. Have a good day. I grabbed my keys and wallet. Holly called after me. Travis, this is ridiculous. I turned in the doorway. No, Ridiculous would be me pretending we're something we're not. You set the terms. I'm just following them. Work was busy enough to keep my mind occupied. I'm a mechanical engineer at a mid-sized manufacturing company. The job's demanding, but stable. I'd always made sure to text Holly during lunch, ask how her day was going. Not anymore. When I got home that evening, Holly was in the living room on her laptop. I nodded at her, went to the kitchen, and heated up leftover pasta. For myself, I ate standing at the counter, scrolling through my phone. You're not making dinner? Holly asked from the doorway. I made dinner. For me. I didn't look up. Roommates handle their own meals. Her jaw tightened. This is getting old fast. Then maybe you should have thought about that before redefining our relationship. I put my plate in the dishwasher. I'm going for a run. I changed and headed out, earbuds in. I used to skip evening runs because Holly liked having dinner together. Well, not anymore. I had 40 minutes of freedom, and I was going to use them. When I got back, sweaty and tired, Holly was waiting in the living room. We need to talk. About you acting like a stranger in your own house. I grabbed a water bottle. I'm acting exactly how you asked me to act. You said we're roommates. Roommates don't owe each other explanations about their schedules. So what? You're just never going to speak to me again. I'm speaking to you right now. I kept my tone even. Look, Holly, you wanted boundaries. I'm respecting them. If that's uncomfortable for you, maybe you need to examine why. She stood there, frustrated and confused. I didn't mean it like this. Then what did you mean? Because from where I'm standing, you clearly communicated what we are to each other. I'm just making sure my actions match your words. Holly crossed her arms. You're punishing me. No, punishment would be treating you badly. I'm treating you exactly as you defined our relationship. There's a difference. I headed toward the stairs. I'm going to shower. Good night. Over the next few days, I maintained the same approach. Polite but distant. Functional but not affectionate. I stopped doing the little things I used to do without thinking. No more leaving notes on her coffee mug. No more asking if she needed anything from the store. No more checking in during the day. Friday evening, I came home to find Holly cooking. She'd made chicken stir-fry, my favorite. There were 2 plates set on the counter. I thought we could have dinner together, she said, almost shy. I looked at the setup. Part of me wanted to sit down and pretend everything was fine. But that wouldn't solve anything. That's nice of you, I said carefully. But I already ate at work. Plus, I've got plans tonight. Plans. Her voice rose slightly. What plans? Some guys from work are meeting up for drinks. I told them I'd go. This was true. Joseph from the engineering department had invited me weeks ago, but I'd always declined because Holly and I had our Friday night routine. Well, we didn't have that anymore. You're going out? On a Friday night? Yeah. Roommates don't need permission to have social lives. I checked my watch. I should get ready. Thanks for the offer, though. I went upstairs, changed into jeans and a decent shirt, and came back down. Holly was standing in the kitchen, the untouched plate still on the counter. She looked hurt, and honestly, that stung. But I couldn't keep being the only one putting in effort. What time will you be home? She asked quietly. Not sure. Probably late. Don't wait up. I grabbed my keys. See you later. At the bar, Joseph and a couple other guys from work were already there. We grabbed a table, ordered drinks, talked about the project deadlines coming up. It felt good to be out, to laugh, to not think about the tension at home. Around 10, Joseph leaned over. Man, it's good to see you out. When's the last time you came to one of these? Too long, I admitted. Everything good at home? I took a drink. Honestly, not really, but I'm working on it. He nodded, understanding without needing details. Well, you're always welcome. We do this most Fridays. I might take you up on that. I got home around 11:30. The house was dark except for the lamp in the living room. Holly was on the couch, laptop closed beside her. She looked up when I walked in. Have fun. Her tone was neutral, but her eyes were searching. Yeah, actually. Needed that. I set my keys down. You still up? Couldn't sleep. We stood there in awkward silence. Finally, Holly spoke. Your birthday is coming up. 2 weeks. I was thinking we could. Don't worry about it. I cut in gently. Roommates don't celebrate birthdays together. Her face fell. Travis. What? You set these rules, Holly. I'm just following them consistently. I headed for the stairs. Good night. In the guest room, I sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand. I pulled up the calendar. She was right. My birthday was in 2 weeks. Then, 3 days after that, hers. I'd already canceled the reservation I'd made months ago at that resort in Asheville, the one she'd been excited about, the fancy place with the mountain views and spa treatments. We talked about it back when we still talked about things that mattered. Now, now she'd get exactly what roommates give each other on birthdays. Nothing. Maybe that would be the wake-up call she needed. Or maybe it wouldn't. Either way, I was done making exceptions to the rules she'd created. If Holly wanted to fix this, she'd have to be the one to say it. I'd spent months trying to hold us together. Now it was her turn to decide what she actually wanted. Because I was tired of guessing. 2 weeks passed. I kept the roommate routine consistent. No coffee for her. No text during the day. No asking about her evening plans. Holly tried a few times to bridge the gap, making dinner, suggesting we watch something together. Each time, I politely declined or had other plans. The distance was getting to her. I could see it in the way she looked at me, like she was waiting for me to crack first. But I wasn't going to. Then her birthday arrived. Monday morning, I woke up in the guest room like usual. Got ready, went downstairs. Holly was already in the kitchen, dressed for work. She glanced at me when I walked in, and I could see the expectation in her eyes. I poured my coffee, grabbed a protein bar from the cabinet. Morning. Morning, she said carefully. So, any plans today? Just work. Might stay late. We've got a design review tomorrow. I checked my phone. Why? Holly's face shifted, disappointment creeping in. No reason. Just asking. I knew exactly what day it was. Her birthday. The day I'd normally have taken off work, planned something special, made her feel celebrated. Not this year. All right, I'm heading out. Have a good one. I grabbed my keys. Travis. Her voice stopped me at the door. You know what day it is, right? I turned back, keeping my expression neutral. Monday. Her eyes widened slightly. It's my birthday. Oh, right. I nodded. Happy birthday, Holly. That's all I said. No gift. No card. No elaborate plans. Just 2 words, delivered the same way you tell a coworker or neighbor. Holly stood there, stunned. That's it. What else would there be? I asked genuinely. Roommates don't typically celebrate each other's birthdays. Maybe you'll get a card, if you're lucky. You're unbelievable, she said, voice tight. I'm consistent. There's a difference. I checked my watch. I really do need to go. Traffic's going to be bad. I walked out, got in my car, and drove to work. Part of me felt terrible. 7 years together, and I'd just treated her birthday like any other Monday. But another part knew this was necessary. She needed to understand what she'd asked for. Work kept me busy until around 6. When I got home, I grabbed takeout on the way. Chinese food. Just enough for one person. Holly was in the living room when I walked in. She looked up from her laptop, and I could tell she'd been crying. Her eyes were red, makeup slightly smudged. Hey, I said, heading straight to the kitchen. You got takeout, she said flatly. Yeah, didn't feel like cooking. I opened the containers, started eating right there at the counter. Holly appeared in the doorway. Did you forget, or did you just not care? I looked at her. Forget what? My birthday, Travis. My birthday. Her voice cracked. We've been together 7 years, and you treated it like nothing. I wished you happy birthday this morning. That's not what I mean, and you know it. She crossed her arms, fighting back tears. No card. No gift. No dinner plans. Nothing. I set down my chopsticks. Holly, you told me we're roommates. Roommates don't do birthday dinners and romantic gestures. They coexist, split bills, and live separate lives in the same space. That's what you wanted. I didn't want this, she said, voice breaking. Then what did you want? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't call us roommates and then expect me to act like your husband. Holly wiped her eyes. You're being cruel. No, I'm being honest. You set the boundary. You defined our relationship. I'm simply respecting what you asked for. I paused. If you don't like how this feels, maybe you should think about why that is. She stared at me, anger and hurt mixing on her face. You know what? Forget it. This was clearly a mistake. What was? Expecting you to care. She turned and walked upstairs. A minute later, I heard the bedroom door slam. I stood there in the kitchen, alone with my takeout. The house felt cold, empty. This wasn't fun. It wasn't satisfying. But it was necessary. I finished eating, cleaned up, and went to the guest room. Lying there in the dark, I thought about previous birthdays. The year I'd surprised her with tickets to see her favorite band. The year we'd gone to that bed and breakfast upstate. Last year, when I'd made her breakfast in bed and we'd spent the whole day together. This year, nothing. Because roommates don't do those things. My phone buzzed. A text from Holly. I can't believe you canceled Asheville and didn't even tell me. I stared at the message. How did she know about that? Another text came through. My brother asked about it tonight. You made me look like an idiot. Right. Leonard must have called to wish her happy birthday and mentioned the trip. I'd forgotten to tell her I'd canceled it weeks ago. I typed back. I canceled it the day after you said we were roommates. Didn't seem appropriate for roommates to go on a romantic mountain getaway. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, you're really going through with this. You started it. I'm just following through. No response after that. I set my phone down and stared at the ceiling. Part of me wanted to go upstairs, apologize, make everything okay. But that would defeat the purpose. Holly needed to understand what she'd actually said, what she'd actually done. She couldn't just casually throw away our marriage and expect me to keep playing the role of devoted husband. If she wanted to fix this, she'd have to actually say it. She'd have to acknowledge what she'd lost. Otherwise, we'd keep living as roommates until one of us moved out or filed papers. The next morning was tense. Holly barely looked at me. I made my coffee. She made hers. We moved around the kitchen like choreographed dancers avoiding contact. I'm going to be late tonight, she said as I was leaving. Department meeting. Okay. I grabbed my keys. That's all you're going to say? What else is there to say? You've got a meeting. I've got work. That's how roommates communicate. Holly's jaw clenched. How long are you going to keep this up? As long as necessary. I met her eyes. You wanted boundaries, Holly. You wanted emotional distance. You got it. If you want something different, you need to say so. Clearly. Not in hints or questions. Actually say what you want. She stood there, silent. I waited, giving her the chance. But she didn't take it. I'll see you tonight, I said and left. At work, I couldn't focus. Joseph noticed during lunch. You all right, man? You've been distracted all morning. Rough night, I admitted. The wife. I nodded. It was her birthday yesterday. Oh yeah? You guys do anything nice? No. That's part of the problem. Joseph raised an eyebrow but didn't push. Relationships are complicated. That's putting it mildly. That evening, I came home to an empty house. Holly's meeting must have run late. I made myself dinner, watched some TV, and went to bed around 10. Around midnight, I heard the front door. Holly's footsteps on the stairs. Then the bedroom door closing. Not slamming, just closing. Quiet and final. I lay there in the dark, wondering how much longer this could go on. How much longer before one of us broke. And more importantly, what would happen when we did? The week after Holly's birthday, things changed. Subtly at first, then more obviously. Wednesday morning, I came downstairs to find 2 cups of coffee on the counter. One black, one with light cream and sugar. Mine and hers. Holly was at the table, watching me. Made you coffee, she said quietly. I looked at the cup, then at her. Thanks, but I already had some upstairs. It was a lie. I hadn't. But accepting the coffee felt like accepting an olive branch I wasn't ready to take. Holly's face fell. Right. Of course. I grabbed my work bag. I've got an early meeting. See you tonight. That evening, I came home to music playing. The smell of cooking filled the house. Holly was in the kitchen, actually cooking. Not takeout, not leftovers. Genuine effort. Hey, she said, too cheerful. I made spaghetti. Your favorite. Thought maybe we could eat together. I set my keys down, studying the scene. The table was set. 2 plates. 2 wine glasses. Candles, unlit but present. Holly, just dinner, Travis. That's all. Roommates can have dinner together sometimes, right? There was desperation in her voice. I wanted to say yes. God, I wanted to sit down and pretend everything was fine. But we'd been down this road before. Temporary fixes that never addressed the actual problem. I appreciate the effort, I said carefully. But I'm not hungry. I ate at my desk earlier. Another lie. I was starving. Holly's hands dropped to her sides. You're lying. Excuse me. You're lying. You always eat late. You've never eaten at your desk. Her voice cracked. You're avoiding me. No, I'm maintaining the boundaries you established. Stop saying that. She slammed her hand on the counter. Stop throwing my words back at me. Then take them back, I said calmly. Actually take them back. Not with dinner or coffee or nice gestures. With words. Say what you want, Holly. She stood there, breathing hard, eyes filling with tears. But she didn't say it. Whatever was holding her back, whatever pride or fear or stubbornness, she couldn't let go. I made dinner, she whispered. I can see that. And it looks great. But roommates don't have candlelit dinners together. I headed for the stairs. I'm going to change. Good night. In the guest room, I sat on the edge of the bed, head in my hands. This was harder than I thought it would be, watching her try and having to reject it. But she needed to understand this wasn't about grand gestures. It was about genuine change and communication. The next few days followed a similar pattern. Holly left notes on my coffee mug. Sweet things, apologetic things. I read them and threw them away. She texted during the day, asking how I was. I responded with one-word answers. Friday night, I came home to find her sitting on the couch, dressed up. Hair done, makeup perfect, wearing the dress I'd always loved. What's this? I asked. I thought maybe we could go out. That new Italian place downtown. I made reservations. I looked at her, really looked at her. She was trying so hard. But it was all surface-level fixes. Band-aids on a gunshot wound. Holly, what are we doing here? What do you mean? This. I gestured around. The coffee, the dinners, the notes. What's the point? The point is I'm trying, she said, voice shaking. I'm trying to fix things. No, you're trying to make things comfortable again. That's not the same as fixing them. She stood up. Then what do you want from me? I want you to be honest. About what went wrong. About why you said what you said. About what you actually want from this marriage. I kept my voice steady. Making me dinner doesn't address the fact that you called us roommates. Going out to eat doesn't fix the months of distance before that. These are distractions. Holly's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what else to do. Start by talking. Genuinely talking. Not about dinner plans or weekend activities. About us. About why you pulled away. About whether you even want to fix this or if you're just uncomfortable with the consequences. She wiped her eyes, mascara smudging. You think I don't want to fix this? I think you want things to be easy again. But easy isn't the same as healthy. So what? We just keep living like strangers. Until you're ready to have an actual conversation? Yeah, I loosened my tie. I'm not trying to punish you, Holly. But I'm also not going to pretend everything's fine because you made spaghetti. She stood there, looking small and lost in that dress. I miss you. Those 3 words hit harder than anything else she could have said. Because I missed her too. Desperately. But missing someone doesn't mean accepting half measures. I miss you too, I admitted. But missing each other isn't enough. We need to figure out why we got here in the first place. Holly nodded slowly, tears streaming down her face. I'm scared. Of what? Of saying the wrong thing. Of making it worse. She trailed off. Of being vulnerable. I finished. She nodded. That's what marriage is, Holly. It's being vulnerable with someone and trusting they won't use it against you. But you stopped being vulnerable. You built walls. And when I tried to climb them, you called us roommates. I was wrong, she whispered. Then say that. Actually say it. Not in a note or a gesture. Look at me and tell me what you want. Holly met my eyes. For a moment, I thought she'd do it. I thought she'd finally say what needed to be said. But instead, she looked away. I can't, she breathed. Why not? Because what if you say no? What if you've already decided this is over? There it was. The fear underneath everything else. She was terrified that if she actually asked for us back, I'd reject her. I moved closer, not touching but near enough that she could feel my presence. Holly, I'm still here. I'm sleeping in the guest room instead of filing papers. I'm having these conversations instead of moving out. I'm still here. But I need you to meet me halfway. I need you to actually try, not just perform trying. She looked up at me, vulnerable in a way I hadn't seen in months. I don't know how. Start with honesty. Tell me why you said we were roommates. Tell me what was going through your head. Tell me what you're afraid of. Just talk to me. Actually talk to me. Holly took a shaky breath. Can we sit down? Yeah. We sat on the couch, careful distance between us. Holly twisted her hands in her lap, gathering courage. I was drowning, she finally said. At work, in expectations, in everything. And I felt like you were just fine. Like everything was easy for you. And I resented that. Which isn't fair, I know. But I did. I stayed quiet, letting her continue. I started pulling away because I didn't know how to tell you I wasn't okay. And the more I pulled away, the guiltier I felt. Which made me pull away more. It was this cycle I couldn't break. Why didn't you just tell me? Because I was supposed to have it together. We both were. That's what we always said. We're the stable couple. The ones who don't have problems. She laughed bitterly. Turns out that was a lie. Everyone has problems, Holly. I know that now. She wiped her eyes. When I said we were roommates, I was trying to, I don't know, create distance before you could, protect myself. It was stupid. It hurt, I said simply. I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Her voice broke. I thought you didn't care anymore. You were so calm when I said it. So accepting. I thought maybe you'd been feeling the same way. So you tested me. She nodded miserably. And you passed. Or failed. I don't even know anymore. I looked at her, seeing the woman I'd married. Still there, under all the fear and walls. You know what the worst part is? If you'd just talked to me 6 months ago, none of this would have happened. We could have worked through it together. I know. Do you? Because this whole mess happened because you chose silence over communication. And now here we are. Holly turned to face me fully. I want to fix this. Actually fix it. Not just make it comfortable. I want my husband back. I want us back. Then we need to do this right. Not romantic dinners and notes. Genuine work. Maybe counseling. Definitely better communication. Okay, she said immediately. Whatever it takes. I studied her face, looking for sincerity. It was there, raw and honest. This isn't going to be easy. I know. And I'm not moving back into the bedroom until we've actually made progress. She flinched but nodded. I understand. For the first time in weeks, I felt a tiny bit of hope. Not much, but enough. Okay, we'll start tomorrow. Find a counselor, set up appointments. Do this properly. Holly reached for my hand hesitantly. I let her take it. Her fingers were cold, trembling slightly. Thank you, she whispered, for not giving up on us. I haven't given up, but I need you to show up, Holly. Really show up. Not just when it's convenient or comfortable. I will. I promise. I squeezed her hand once, then let go. I'm going to bed. We'll talk more tomorrow. As I walked upstairs, I felt the weight shift slightly. Not gone, but lighter. Maybe we'd turn a corner. Or maybe this was another false start. Only time would tell. The next morning, Holly was already up when I came downstairs. She had her laptop open, a notepad beside her. I've been researching therapists, she said without preamble. There's one in town, Dr. Riley. She specializes in couples work. Has great reviews. Her next opening is Tuesday evening. I poured coffee, impressed despite myself. You've been up a while. Couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about everything. She looked up at me. I also called my boss. Told him I need to leave by 5:30 from now on. No more late nights unless it's absolutely critical. He was okay with that. I don't care if he wasn't. This is more important. She closed the laptop. I meant what I said last night. I'm done putting work before us. Over the next week, things shifted. Not dramatically, but noticeably. Holly came home on time. We ate dinner together, actual conversations happening. Not forced, not performative. Just talking. About work, about stress, about the small things we'd stopped sharing. I still slept in the guest room. That boundary remained. Tuesday came. We drove to Dr. Riley's office in separate cars, meeting in the parking lot. Holly looked nervous. You ready? I asked. No, but let's do it anyway. The session was hard. Dr. Riley asked direct questions neither of us wanted to answer. Why had we stopped communicating? When did we stop being partners? What did we each need from this marriage? Holly cried. I didn't, but came close. You both seem to love each other, Dr. Riley observed. But somewhere along the way, you forgot how to show it. Holly, you withdrew because you felt overwhelmed. Travis, you accepted the withdrawal because you thought that's what support looked like. So we're both wrong, Holly said. You're both human, Dr. Riley corrected. The question is, are you willing to learn new patterns? We left with homework, daily check-ins, 15 minutes, no phones, just talking. And weekly date nights, no work talk allowed. The check-ins were awkward at first. We'd sit on the couch, struggling to find words. But by the end of the week, they got easier. Holly talked about her stress. I talked about feeling invisible. We started listening instead of just waiting for our turn to speak. Friday, our first assigned date night. Holly suggested that Italian place again. This time, I said yes. At dinner, she looked different. Relaxed. Present. This is nice, she said, reaching across the table. Not grabbing my hand, just resting hers near mine. An invitation, not a demand. I took her hand. Yeah, it is. I'm sorry for what I said, she said softly. The roommate thing. I was trying to protect myself, and I hurt you instead. I know. And I'm sorry for going nuclear with the boundaries. I was hurt and wanted you to feel it too. Did it work? Unfortunately, yes. She laughed, genuine and light. We're a mess. We're a work in progress, I corrected. 3 weeks into therapy, Dr. Riley asked me a question that changed everything. Travis, what do you need from Holly to feel safe moving back into the bedroom? I'd been thinking about this. Consistency. I need to know this isn't temporary. That when things get hard again, she won't shut me out. Holly looked at me. I can't promise I'll be perfect, but I can promise I'll talk to you instead of running. Even when it's scary. That's all I need. That night, I moved my things back into our bedroom. Holly had changed the sheets, lit a candle. Nothing dramatic, just welcoming. We lay in bed, careful distance between us at first. Then Holly shifted closer. Is this okay? Yeah. She rested her head on my chest. I wrapped my arm around her. It felt foreign and familiar at the same time. I missed this, she whispered. Me too. We didn't have sex that night. Didn't need to. Just being close, being present, was enough. The next morning, I woke up to Holly already awake, watching me. Morning, she said, smiling. Morning. I was thinking, your birthday is coming up, and I know I ruined mine, but maybe we could celebrate yours properly? Nothing big, just us. I thought about it. Asheville. Let's rebook that trip. Her eyes lit up. Seriously? Yeah. We could both use a reset. New memories in a place we were supposed to go together. Holly leaned over and kissed me. Soft, tentative, but genuine. When she pulled back, she was crying. Thank you for not giving up on us. Thank you for fighting to get us back. We still had work to do. Therapy continued. Check-ins became routine, but the distance was closing. We were becoming partners again, not roommates sharing space. And that made all the difference. 3 months later, we were driving through the Blue Ridge Mountains, windows down, music playing. Holly's hand rested on my thigh, comfortable and natural. I can't believe we're actually doing this, she said, smiling. Better late than never. Asheville was everything we'd hoped for. The resort sat nestled in the mountains, views stretching for miles. Our room had a balcony overlooking the valley. That first evening, we hiked one of the nearby trails. Not talking much, just being together. At the summit, Holly stopped and turned to me. I've been thinking about that night. When I said we were roommates. Holly, we don't need to. No, let me say this. She took my hand. I was drowning, and instead of asking for help, I pushed away the one person who would have jumped in after me. That was the biggest mistake of my life. We both made mistakes. Yeah, but mine almost cost us everything. She squeezed my hand. Thank you for making me fight for this. For not letting me take the easy way out. I pulled her close. You know what I learned? Sometimes love means making someone uncomfortable. If I'd just accepted the roommate thing, we'd have drifted until there was nothing left. Instead, you set boundaries. And you respected them. Eventually, I kissed her forehead. That's growth. We spent the weekend reconnecting. Not just physically, though that happened too, but genuinely reconnecting. We talked about future plans, about dreams we'd stopped sharing. We laughed more than we had in a year. Sunday morning, sitting on the balcony with coffee, Holly showed me something on her phone. I've been journaling. Dr. Riley suggested it. Want to hear the last entry? Sure. She read aloud. Today I woke up next to my husband. Not my roommate. Not someone I share space with. My actual husband, my partner, my best friend. We still have hard days. Last week we argued about his work schedule. But instead of shutting down, we talked it through. That's the difference now. We don't run from hard conversations. We lean into them. My throat tightened. Holly, I'm not finished. She smiled. I almost lost the best thing in my life because I was too scared to be vulnerable. But Travis didn't let me. He loved me enough to let me be uncomfortable, to make me work for what we have. And now? Now we have something stronger than what we had before. Not perfect, but authentic. And that's worth everything. I set down my coffee and kissed her, long and deep and full of everything I felt. When we pulled apart, she was crying. Happy tears this time. I love you, she said. I never stopped. I just forgot how to show it. I love you too. Always have. We spent the rest of the morning on that balcony, planning. Not just the next vacation or weekend plans, but actual life plans. Where we wanted to be in 5 years, 10 years. The kind of conversations we'd stopped having. Driving home Monday, Holly reached over and took my hand. Can we make a promise? What kind of promise? That we never let it get that bad again. That if one of us starts drifting, the other calls it out immediately. Deal. But you have to promise something too. What? That you'll never call us roommates again. I said it with a smile, but there was seriousness underneath. Never. We're partners. Always. She paused. Even when I'm stressed or overwhelmed or scared. We're partners. Partners, I agreed. That evening, back home, we unpacked together. Holly found the old photo from our wedding tucked in my suitcase. You brought this. Wanted to remember what we were fighting for. She studied the photo. Two people, younger and naive, thinking love would be easy. We looked so sure of ourselves. We were idiots, I said with affection. Happy idiots. She set the photo on the dresser. Think we'll make it. I wrapped my arms around her from behind, both of us looking at our younger selves. Yeah, I think we will, because now we know it takes work, and we're both willing to do it. Holly leaned back against me. Best decision I never made. What? Letting you treat me like a roommate. Best thing that never was my decision, but forced me to wake up. I laughed. That's a complicated way of saying I was right. Don't push it. We stood there, comfortable in the silence, watching the sunset through our bedroom window. Not roommates. Not strangers. Partners. And that was everything.